It's 7:45 a.m. Tuesday. You're standing in line for coffee. You tap your phone against the reader. It beeps. Approved. You don't think about the digital numbers moving from your server to theirs. You don't think about the fact that the coffee cost $4 last year and today it's $7. You just accept it. This is normal. This is life. But imagine for a second that the network goes down, not just for an hour, but forever. Imagine the screen on your phone goes black. The bank branch is locked. In that moment, standing on the sidewalk, what do you actually own? Do you own the digits? No. They're gone. Do you own the coffee? Only if you drank it. This feeling, this sudden realization that your wealth is an illusion, has a name. Historians call it the crisis of the 3rd century. But the people who lived through it just called it the collapse. And right now, the math suggests you are standing at the exact same precipice. Most people were wiped out when Rome fell. Their savings evaporated. Their status vanished. But a select few didn't just survive. They became the kings of the new world. How? We are taught that Rome fell because of barbarians at the gates. That is a lie. Or at best, a convenient half-truth. Rome didn't die by the sword. It died by the ledger. Let's look at the mechanism. It's called debasement. In the beginning, the Roman denarius was 98% pure silver. It was real money. It was a store of value. You could hold it, bury it, and dig it up 50 years later unchanged. But emperors are expensive. They need to pay soldiers. They need to build monuments. And they hate raising taxes. Does that sound familiar? So Emperor Nero had a bright idea. He melted down the coins and mixed in a little copper. Suddenly, 1 silver coin became 2 silver-ish coins. He doubled his money supply overnight. It worked, for a while. The soldiers were paid. The parties continued. But the market isn't stupid. The merchants realized the coins were lighter, so they raised prices. This is the mechanical birth of inflation. By the time of Emperor Gallienus, that silver coin was 95% bronze. It was worthless scrap metal. The currency had collapsed. The middle class was liquidated. The poor starved. But here is the terrifying part. Not everyone lost. There was a class of people, the patricians, who saw the math. They realized the game was rigged, so they stopped playing by the rules of the currency. They developed a set of protocols to move wealth out of the system before it crashed. Today we call these hacks. But they aren't hacks. They are survival instincts. And if you look at your own economy, at the trillions printed since 2020, you realize something urgent. You need to learn these protocols, not to get rich, but to keep from being erased. Let's break down the 7 moves the Roman elite made while the city burned. Protocol 1, the exit from fiat. The smartest Romans stopped holding denarii. They knew the coin was a lie. They moved their wealth into what they called res, things, real things, productive farmland, olive groves, mining rights. When the currency collapsed, the price of an olive didn't change. The price of the coin changed. The farmer still had food. The coin holder had scrap metal. In today's world, this is the difference between holding cash in a savings account and holding assets. If you can't touch it, you don't own it. Protocol 2. The Latifundia Strategy. When the small farmers went bankrupt because of inflation and taxes, who bought their land? The ultra-wealthy. They bought distressed assets for pennies. They consolidated small farms into massive estates called latifundia. This sounds cruel. It is. But it's also the law of economic gravity. Wealth flows from the impatient to the patient, from the leverage to the liquid. While the plebs were panic selling, the patricians were panic buying. Protocol 3. Patronage as insurance. In Rome, there was no police force to call if things went wrong. There was no FDIC insurance. Your safety net was your network, the clientela system. A wealthy Roman would support hundreds of clients, giving them food, legal protection, and money. In exchange, those clients offered loyalty, information, and physical protection. Today, we've outsourced this to the state. We trust the government to protect us. But when the system fractures, that protection vanishes. The Roman hack was realizing that your net worth is zero if you have no allies. Protocol 4. Geographic Arbitrage. The empire was vast. When Rome became dangerous, the smart money moved to Constantinople. They didn't keep all their eggs in the basket that was on fire. They held assets in different jurisdictions, different currencies, different laws. If the emperor seized your villa in Italy, you still had your shipping fleet in Egypt. Ask yourself, is your entire life tied to one zip code, one currency, one economy? That's not patriotism. That's a single point of failure. Protocol 5. Information asymmetry. The news in Rome was controlled. The acta diurna was state propaganda. The war is going great. The grain supply is full. The masses believed it. The elite had their own private couriers. They knew the grain shipment sunk before the public did. They traded on that delay. In the modern age, the news cycle is designed to keep you emotional, not informed. If you are reacting to the headlines, you are already the liquidity for someone else's exit. Protocol 6. The self-sufficient villa. As the urban centers decayed, the wealthy retreated to self-contained estates. These weren't just vacation homes, they were production centers. They baked their own bread. They made their own tools. They became independent of the state supply chain. When the aqueducts in Rome ran dry, the wells in the villas were full. Protocol 7. The Stoic mindset. This is the most important one. You can lose your gold. You can lose your land. Seneca, the richest man in Rome, wrote constantly about the poverty he might face. He mentally rehearsed ruin so that he wouldn't fear it. Why is this a money hack? Because fear makes you sell at the bottom. Fear makes you buy at the top. Fear makes you a slave to the system. The ultimate asset in a collapsing empire is a mind that doesn't panic. You might be thinking, that's ancient history. We have central banks now. We have technology. But technology changes. Human nature does not. Look at the chart of the US dollar's purchasing power since 1913. It is the exact same curve as the Roman denarius. We didn't solve the problem of debasement, we just digitized it, and the ripple effects are identical. In Rome, when the money failed, society polarized. The middle class vanished. You were either a master or a servant. There was no in-between. Look around you today. The wealth gap isn't a glitch, it's a feature of a dying currency. The asset holders, the modern patricians, are seeing their net worth skyrocket. Not because they are smarter, but because they hold the res, the things. The wage earners, the plebeians, are working harder for money that buys less and less. This creates a kinetic energy in society, a tension. In Rome, this tension eventually snapped. The social contract broke. People stopped trusting the institutions. They stopped joining the army. They stopped caring. This is the phase we are entering now. The apathy phase, when nobody believes the prices are real, nobody believes the news is real, and nobody believes the future is real. It's a dangerous time, but it's also a time of massive opportunity. Because when the herd is confused, the individual can move. The system is resetting. The question is, which side of the transfer will you be on? So, how do you apply the Roman strategy to your life tomorrow? You don't need a marble villa or a legion of soldiers. You need the principles. First, audit your exposure to the illusion. How much of your wealth is in fiat currency sitting in a bank? History suggests that number should be as low as you need for short-term survival. Move into hard assets. It doesn't have to be a farm. It can be gold, silver, commodities. Digital bearer assets that cannot be debased. Anything that the emperor cannot print more of. Second, build your patronage network. Who would you call if your accounts were frozen? If you have no answer, you are vulnerable. Invest in relationships, skills, community. In a high-trust society, money is the connector. In a low-trust society, reputation is the connector. Third, become a producer, not just a consumer. The Roman middle class died because they relied on the cura annoni, the grain dole. They waited to be fed. The patricians owned the farms that fed them. Create value that is independent of the corporate lattice. And finally, adopt the Stoic distance. The headlines are designed to drain your energy. Ignore them. Focus on the mechanical reality of your own balance sheet. The empire might stumble. The currency might fade. But if you follow the protocol, your family's future doesn't have to fall with it. Wealth is never destroyed. It is merely transferred. From the unaware to the prepared, from the trusting to the skeptical. Rome teaches us that the only thing you can truly rely on is what you control. Look at your bank account one more time. Do you see wealth? Or do you see a promise that is slowly being broken? We are living through history. Don't be a passive observer. I want to know what you think. Do you believe we can reverse the devaluation? Or is the reset inevitable? Let me know in the comments. I read them all. And if you found value here today, if this opened your eyes to the machine, join us. The cycle is repeating, and I'll help you prepare. Subscribe.